Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life in Sport podcast. And we're joined, as always, I say it every episode with a guest, very special guest. He's actually started up his own, bit of retro rugby league, buy, swap, sell, restoration, that sort of stuff of rugby league jerseys. Um, Retro Rugba Leeg, as he's known, he's also known as Tom. First of all, Tom, thank you for joining me. And how was your day today?
Thanks for having me, CJ. Yeah, it was a pretty good day today. Busy day today. On top of being a youth pastor as my full-time gig, I also teach religion in school. I think New South Wales is called SRE. So that was
Mm-hmm.
the main part of my day today, plus hanging out with some teens afterwards, kind of dinner thing another church puts on. So it was all happening, but happy to be on the podcast tonight.
Nah, very nice. It's good to hear. And obviously, my first question is the same question for every guest, regardless of the sport. I just tailor it, the wording for the guest. And it's what's your earliest memory of rugby league?
I think my earliest memory, I must have been in probably year two, is watching State of Origin. We lived in this little farmhouse in a little town called Dalby, which is about 3 hours
Yep.
west of
I know what
Toowoomba,
Dolby is.
of
Yep.
Brisbane, sorry. And I remember watching State of Origin as a kid. Now, I had some frame of reference for it, so I must have watched rugby league before that, but that was like this one thing I can remember.
Yep.
And I remember, Craig Fitzgibbon and Luke Ricketson and probably Freddie and Joey and some of those guys running around. And I was just totally enamored with this sport. That's probably my earliest memory.
Okay. And you just mentioned a lot of New South Wales players. Obviously, Roosters, of course, but a lot of New South Wales players. But you just mentioned Dolby, Queensland. So my next question is Queensland or New South Wales when it comes to state of origin?
So I'm a Blue. I was actually born in Victoria. I was born in Box
Okay.
Hill, so I'm a Hawk
Box Hill
nominally.
Hawk.
I
Yeah.
don't really
Okay.
watch. I don't really watch that much AFL, and I kind
Mm-hmm.
of jumped ship to Port Adelaide last year just because I like their colours because I'm more of a
Yeah.
Jersey nerd than anything else. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, all my family is from New South Wales, and my grandparents are the ones who really got me into rugby league. They were from New South Wales, so my loyalty kind of tied there. Plus,
Well,
I
not
probably
just that,
like
but
being a bit of.
also that's a fair enough reasoning. You're from Victoria. Anyone that's not from either Queensland or New South, I believe, has a free pass to pick the state that they go for.
Well, we did move to New South Wales straight after that. I mean, I only lived there for probably a matter of months, if not a year,
Yep.
as a baby, and then we're in New South Wales. So we're in Gundagai. If you're
Yep.
familiar with that
Dog on a
place, and you
tucker
kind of
box.
tune it and
I know
Wagga,
there.
yes, that's the place. And for a little while, also in Wee Waa. We're also up in Arnhem Land in the Northern Territory for a bit. So moved around quite a bit.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm a Blue, and I've stuck with it. We've got three kids. I fear they're going to grow up to be Queenslanders. That can't be helped, unfortunately. But I'll never stop being a Blue.
No, that's fair enough. And as we said, it's state of origin, not state of convenience, except for when it comes to, born in Victoria, WA, those sort of things. So I think your kids are going to have to be Queenslanders. I'm sorry.
Or if you're Greg Inglis, I suppose.
Yeah. Or if you're James Tarmo.
Yep. Or Peter Sterling or Wally Lewis. Anyway, the list goes on, doesn't it?
Or most recently, well, not most recent, but one of the recent ones that really got me angry, Luke Keary.
Yeah, that's a weird story, isn't it? I
That
don't
is a
really know
weird
what's
one,
going
isn't
on
it? Out
there.
of all of them, that's the one that perplexes me. So anyway, let's get into some more questions. Obviously, you're wearing a Roosters sweater, so is it safe to assume that you are a Roosters fan?
Big time.
And
I've
where'd you
been,
love at that
I,
start?
well, I was actually a Melbourne Storm fan as a kid. So at the time, my little Victorian heritage, that the
Yep.
first like proper game I remember watching start to finish was the '99 grand final, and I was going
Oh,
for
that's
Melbourne.
the first time I remember watching it. I had it on VHS. Hugh Jackman sang and everything.
Yeah, yeah. So I was a big Melbourne fan, and I loved a lot of those players. Brett Camorley and Marcus Bai, Robbie Ross, of course, Glenn Lazarus, Nick Howe, all these guys. But pretty soon after that grand final, all those guys left. And
Yep.
so then I was kind of left floundering. I didn't really like what Melbourne was after that, and left floundering between two teams, Cronulla and the Roosters. Cronulla
Well, I
had
think you
like the
picked
likes
for
of
success
David
wise.
Peachey.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
Peachy.
at that time, Cronulla were pretty hot. Like, Peachy is
They
one of my
were.
favorite, still all-time players. ET rocking around there, some other cool players in there too. And then on the Roosters side, you had a lot of State of Origin reps, and that's
Mm.
probably where my love came. I watched the Blues. Some of the best players were Chooks, and then also I lived in Queensland. I hated Queensland. Queensland is like Brisbane. The opposite of Brisbane is Sydney, so I'm going for the Roosters. And they made that grand final in 2000, lost to the Bronx, but I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
did.
yep, I'm going for them and then got it in '02. So that really cemented me as a Chooks fan. ever since. And I've actually got a Brad Fittler tattoo on my calf that takes up about the back half of my leg that he signed
Gee,
as well.
is
So I got a
like
signature
it's a
tattoo.
photo? Is it like a likeness of him sort of thing?
Yeah, it's portrait. Yeah, so it's from the 2002 grand final with the headband on and the blood coming down the thing.
Wow.
I can
And
probably
he
send you a
signed
photo.
it.
You
So
can
did
put
you
it in the
get
show
that
notes or
autograph
whatever.
tattooed?
Yeah, yep, yeah, it's on there.
That's Ripper.
Yep, so the
That's
whole thing.
honestly
So
Ripper.
yeah, it's awesome.
I love that so much. And obviously we just covered why the Roosters and your love of the Roosters, etc. But this is going to be mainly Roosters specific because it's your love of the Roosters. But before we get stuck in the more Roosters stuff, it's obviously would be remiss if we didn't talk about retro rugby league. And so my first question about that is, what got you into it, and at what point did you decide to try your hand at the restoration? Which that's what got me on Instagram on the reels was the removing of the autographs and stuff. I was like, sheesh, that's awesome. So please talk us through everything.
Oh, cool. Um, so it started back in 2022. I stopped working for doing some church stuff, took a bit of a year off. We moved
Mm-hmm.
around a bit, had all these jerseys in my cupboard, and I thought, do I really want these anymore? Maybe I'll look at selling them. There's a guy on Instagram called Jersey Lord. You should go check him out and give him a follow.
Yep.
And I looked at his stuff and I was like, oh, he's selling all his jerseys. Maybe I'll sell all my jerseys to him. And
Mm-hmm.
we started talking on Instagram. I was going to do the deal. And then I looked at his page and I thought, you know what? I think I could do this. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I could go not one better, but in a different way. I was thinking I'll make videos. So I'll get a jersey. I'll research like the history of who was wearing that jersey at that time. Is there any special games or players? Make a
Yep.
little video about that and then tag the jersey on at the end saying, and if you like, what you're seeing, you can buy that jersey here.
Yep.
So I took the jerseys that I had, bought up a bunch more, started making these videos. I was up till midnight every night making these videos. Saved a bunch up, had this launched it all, just fell totally flat. No one bought
No.
anything. Nothing moved. From basically September, October 2022 to about February 2023, virtually nothing sold.
You would have
And
got
I
a
thought
bit
this was a
disheartened a
disaster.
bit.
Absolutely. I was ready. I just gave up. So I just chucked everything on Marketplace and I thought that was a bit of a dumb idea, but I gave it a try, so be it. But then as the season started to roll around
Yeah.
slowly, jerseys started to sell, and I figured out, hold on, it wasn't me. I just
No.
bought in the wrong season. I didn't
Ex-
understand the market cycle. I was
yep.
buying in the time that everyone was selling, and I was trying to sell at a time that no one was buying. So
Yep.
once I actually learned the flow, then bit by bit, jerseys started to sell, and that was one thing. Um, the videos that I made, whilst I liked them, and I think I really did some cool ones that no one really paid attention to, but I'm happy with them. That was kind of something, but it never really went anywhere.
Yep.
And then as I had this South jersey to sport that I bought. It's a 1995 World Seven
I
South
was gonna
jersey. It's
say that
very rare.
sevens. Yes, it is rare as hen's
Yeah,
teeth.
but it was covered in signatures, and those signatures weren't even from 95. There was a bunch of 2014 Rabbitoh signatures and 2018, some random
Okay,
ones,
that's a bit
which the
taken
guy who
on.
sold them to me, he told me what it was. He wasn't trying
Okay.
to lie to me or anything. He just said, this is this jersey I've got. I'm just a big South fan. Do you want it? So I paid him for it and got it. I thought, well, let's just have an experiment and see what we got. I remember sitting there with the laundry and the jersey in my hand
Hmm.
with the camera set up, ready to film. And I thought, I'm not going to film this. No one's going to care about this. That was a dumb idea. I thought, well, I've got it set up. I'll just do one. No one will care. And then I'll go back to my dreary, boring life. And then people did care. And all these
Yep.
people, particularly all these middle-aged women, started watching and commenting.
Oh, yeah, they're like,
And
oh, this will help me for my son's shirts or whatever.
or just saying like, you should use this or you should use that. And people coming
Yep.
up to me, people I knew saying, we saw your video, you should try this. And I was like, oh, okay. So people actually watch this stuff. Um, Thankfully and unfortunately, that jersey took probably like, uh, 5 to 7 days, maybe 8 days to clean. And I'm talking
Oh
like
wow.
every day trying to add it. But that also gave me like 8 days worth of content or 6 days worth
Yeah.
of content.
Yep.
And it rolled on, and people kept saying, "Oh, I can't wait for part two, can't wait for part three." I thought, man, this is weird. Who cares about cleaning jerseys? But apparently the internet does.
Yep.
So I kept doing more of that, people like that. And then one day the Warriors put out their heritage jersey for this year.
Oh, isn't it
I
great?
made a little video. Oh, it's fantastic. And so I was just compelled to, I've just got to make something about this really quick. Made something about it. Heaps of people jumped on it. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe this is also what people like seeing jersey reviews and commentary and stuff. And
Absolutely.
so that's been my
That's
thing
one of the things
lately.
that piqued my interest of your content as well.
Yeah, so I've kind of got this threefold thing going on. I'm kind of buying and selling retro rugby league jerseys. I'm cleaning up ones that are kind of a bit, if you're looking at or got the signatures on them, which I still get the messages all the time. Why are you getting the signatures off them? Surely they're more valuable with them on. It's just not the case. People want
No,
them
it's not.
clean because they want to wear them to the footy, and they think
Unless it's
wearing
framed and you've
jerseys.
got a COA, it's worth not. It's not worth the fabric it's on, basically.
Well, and even frame stuff. Frame stuff is a really niche market because it's hard
Mm,
to sell because you got to courier it everywhere. You can't just stick it
mm,
in $10 post. Um, you can't wear it, and it's stuck in your man cave. So the people who want that stuff are very particular people.
mm-hmm,
Um, I'm also a little dubious on COAs, really. Like some people just make them up, to be honest. So
mm.
unless the COA is directly from the club, I think it's worthless. Whatever. Like people buy
Or
what
from
you
the
want. At the end of
NRL
the day,
directly as well, sort of thing. But yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they're just all footy fans who are just a bunch of nuffies who are just thriving on nostalgia. So buy what you want, have a good time. But in my field, I see that people want jerseys that are clean because they want to wear them to the footy. They want to be on the hill. They want people to come up to them and say, "Where'd you get that cool jersey from? I
yeah,
remember when, yeah, Artie Beetson wore that, or Trevor Gilmeister or whoever." That's what it's all about. And going to Magic Round on Saturday, I could really see that's what it was all about.
yeah, it absolutely is. I myself, speaking of like that Sevens jersey that was signed by all kinds of different players, um, I actually have done something similar for myself for my own personal collection, sort of thing. I bought a '92 retro, like literally retro from Peter Wynn's Broncos jersey, and I'm getting it signed by as many former players of the Broncos as I can that are specifically retired. It can be retired last year or retired like back in the 80s and 90s, sort of thing. Um, that's just my sort of thing because it's a old, as in it's reproduction retro, but it's not a 2013 or 2023 Broncos jersey. That's just my sort of one that I load up with signatures, and then all the other ones that I have, I don't have any signatures on. um because I can imagine the nightmare that it would be to try and remove them, such as your 8-day process with that Sevens jersey. Right,
You get
next
lucky
question.
sometimes. Like I
Yeah,
had a yeah.
no, go
No,
ahead.
no, it's all good. Move on, move on. I was just
Oh,
going to
okay,
say I
we'll
had
move on.
I've got a Gold Coast Chargers jersey.
Oh,
We
yeah,
must have a bit of a delay. I've got a Gold Coast Chargers jersey that was signed by I think Brett Plowman and a few other things, and I thought,
yep,
oh, this might take a little bit, and it literally came off in one wash. So sometimes you have some good luck.
yeah.
Other times you really don't. So that's how it is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And obviously, it's Indigenous round this week in the NRL. So, my two-parter question: which is your favorite 2024 Indigenous jersey, and which is your favorite Indigenous jersey of all time of the NRL?
Hmm. Well, I can't give away the first one because I will do like a rankings
Okay.
of the jerseys, and for
Okay.
me, it's very important to see that jersey on the field.
Okay.
So for people who want to check out, like I did a rankings 1 to 13 of the teams that put out Anzac jerseys this year.
Yep.
I actually changed my mind about some of them once I'd seen them on the field. So the
Mm-hmm.
Warriors was right up there, maybe number one, number two spot for me. They dropped to number three once I saw it on the field because Rugby League is certainly the way the cameras show is a really 360 viewing of a jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't hold up to that 360 scrutiny, it really changes your mind about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as for this year, we'll have to kind of wait and see.
Okay.
Of all time, ooh, I really love jerseys that are like predominantly black. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm just trying to think
The
of some
Dragons
jerseys.
one, maybe?
Oh, no, actually, which one I like the best
Mm-hmm.
is the Indigenous All Stars one from a couple of years ago, which was predominantly black. Jermaine Hopgood was
Yep.
in the side. Can't remember what the sponsor one. It was like AES or something was the sponsor
Yeah. I
across
think
the
I know the one you're
belly.
talking about. Yeah.
It must be about 2 or 3 years ago. That's probably one of my favorite ones. Or the very first Indigenous All Stars one too, because it's just so
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah.
Big
Absolutely.
Dell, playing aside Preston Campbell, those kind of guys. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I like those two.
That's fair enough. Anyone that's listening and watching this when it's out, obviously be sure to check out Retro Rugby League for his rankings of the 2024 Indigenous jerseys. I'm not going to get you to tell me off record because I want to watch it as you release them as well. I'm going to be very interested because my favorite, no, I'm trying to remove my bias, but my favorite is the Broncos one. They dropped it just recently, as you can tell, and it just looks so clean in my opinion. Like obviously the on field, I have to see what it looks like on the ground, but I can't fault it. I really cannot. And there's been some doozies in no good way by the Broncos over the years for Indigenous round, but this year they just they just seem to get it, if that makes sense. That's my opinion, and that's my even though they're my team, that jersey just does not miss. Same with their Diamonds jersey this year, the away, but it's
Mm.
also retro sort of design. They just did not miss with that one. Um, now, do you think? So obviously we were just talking about off record that you went to Magic Round and there were people coming up like, "Hey, can I get a photo? Love your content." Well, like Cameron Smith's just over there, sort of thing. So it leads to my next question of: did you think your following would become so big, or so recognizable, for lack of a better term, in such a short time?
Well, in short, no. I mean, I'm not 100% convinced that my following is that big. It's hard, isn't it? Because you're constantly like looking at over the fence.
Yep,
So, when you have 800 followers, you think, oh, I wish I had 1,000. When you had 1,000, you say, oh, I wish I had 2,000. It goes up and up and up. So I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that big or that I have that much pull or whatever. I'm doing what I can with what I can. But it certainly has grown this year very quickly,
yep,
which has been awesome. So, like, I mean, I've been really deliberate with posting, a lot and every day and stuff like that. So that's nice to be kind of rewarded for that. And I think people are liking what I'm doing, and hopefully it's going somewhere. And I'm doing something that maybe not a lot of people are doing. But no, I didn't think anyone would care. I keep saying this all the time. I didn't think anyone would care. I don't know why people come up to me. Like, I like it when people come up to me. It's
yep.
great, but I'm confused because I don't think I'm anybody. So it's cool and I love it, and like people keep doing that, but I don't think I'm anyone special. So
That's fair enough, mate. Well, um, I can't speak for anyone else, obviously, other than myself. I love your content. I think it's absolutely ripper. Um, Next question, obviously, is what is your favorite memory personally of the Roosters?
ooh, so obviously winning some grand finals, that was great, and I think 2002 was a pretty special grand final. That was like the first one for me seeing them as a kid to win.
For
Also
me, '06
historically,
was the same for the Broncos. Like,
yeah.
granted, they'd won heaps before, but I was at '06 grand final. It was special. Sorry, continue.
No, no, and I can see why, but I suppose the difference between the Broncos '06, there's a bit of a gap between, 98 and '06, but,
2000,
before
you
two,
mean?
oh, sorry, yes, yes, of course. So it's pretty consistent success is what I was kind of getting to.
Yeah. Yep.
And, since 2002, it's been pretty consistent-ish success for the Roosters. Don't have
Mm-hmm.
to wait too far in between premierships. But people forget before 2002, before the Freddie era, like the Roosters were pretty hopeless.
Oh yeah,
Um,
they
they were
were.
there-ish, but
They
people
couldn't
look back
get there.
fondly on the 90s and the 96s and the 97 sort of Roosters jersey with the Sydney City logo. We were trash. We had no hope. We came close to like maybe coming to a prelim final was a dream. So to get up to the stage where in 2002 you win and then you make the next two grand finals, which is a shame not to win as well, but that was a real marker of success. And it
Mm,
was like we all just used to now the Roosters being a top tier club. Well, for a while that was not the case. So
no.
'02 is probably one of those ones for me. That's a really special moment. 2013 was really great too. 2018 was pretty magical with Cooper Cronk.
Yep.
In 2019, you're kind of settling into success by that point. So that was nice too. But
Yep.
yeah, probably '02 is the fairy tale one of the bunch.
Yeah, that's fair enough, and I definitely agree with that one. As a outsider, as a non-Roosters fan, looking in, definitely O2, I would agree, because I actually went back and rewatched the O2 grand final just because of the love of sport. I went the week before the NRL kicked off, I watched as many grand finals as I could, and the Roosters one, if the O2, in my opinion, sticks out and is a lot better than the O3. Panthers grand final. I don't know why. Personally, for me as an outsider not following either side, it just is. My next
Hmm.
question for you is who's your favorite Roosters player of all time that you've seen play in your lifetime?
Well, look, I probably have to go with Freddie. I mean, I do have a tat of him on my leg, so that seems to be pretty obvious. I
Yep.
mean, yeah, Freddie was that signing that the Roosters grabbed that just changed the fortunes
Yeah.
of that club. Powerful runner, very creative. I don't buy into, some people are saying he should be immortal. I don't think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I think really the next immortal is probably Cam Smith. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this is a slight tangent, but everyone else who you've got in the discussion, Jonathan Thurston, Darren Lockyer, GI, they're all Hall of Famers. It's really a
Absolutely.
two-horse race. Yeah, it really is a two-horse race between CS9 and Billy Slater. But I'm kind of in the school that says it's one player per generation.
Yes.
Whether that's
I'd agree
true,
with that.
whether that's actually a category or not, but that's what I think it should be. Which
Mm-hmm.
is why I think when you pull all those players together, Cameron Smith is that guy for
Yep.
me.
You know what? I'd agree with that logic, and I haven't thought of it before in that way of the a one player per generation. But now that I'm thinking about it in that way, thank you to you. Um, I'd put either Lockyer or Cameron Smith. But then again, Cameron Smith played for so much longer than Lockie because he started his career later. So maybe Lockie would be lost in the sense of because Andrew Johns was the similar generation. I'm not sure. But as you said, all those others definitely Hall of Fame worthy for sure. Got some trivia questions for you, and they're Roosters
Mhm.
related. I thought it'd be fun to test your Roosters knowledge. So,
I'm going to
question
get
one.
exposed here.
So, question one: which of the current NRL sides do the Roosters have the best head-to-head record?
Um, West Tigers.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
They've played 38 times as West's Tigers, that is.
Yep.
They've won 29 and only lost 9 for a percentage of 76.32, which is really fucking good. The second
Mm.
one, a little bit of a stinger. Um, so the Roosters have won 15 titles, but they've also lost 15 grand finals. I'm not asking you to name every year that they've lost. I'm just asking, can you name the most recent 6 grand final losses?
I'd have to work backwards. So
Mm-hmm.
2010,
Yep.
then 2004, 2003,
Yep.
2000,
Yep. You
and
got
then I've got
4.
two more.
Yep.
Oh, I wouldn't know. That's before I was born at that point. So I mean, I suppose would be in the 80s. I think we lost one to the Bulldogs in about
Mm-hmm.
85-ish. Is that on there?
No, but it is in the 80s, and it was to the
Oh, okay.
Bulldogs. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It was 1980. I'll
And
give you that one, and
okay,
you
there you
got
go.
one
There you
left.
go. Oh, so I guess we must be before that. 76?
Nah,
I don't know. I'm
72.
really guessing. There you go.
That's right. You got four
Who
and a
was that to
half.
Manly?
Yes, it was to Manly. Yeah,
Oh, there you go. So I
when
was
they were
there
in
and
their silver
thereabouts.
tails. So that was really good. That was a
Hmm.
really good effort. And speaking of immortals, this segues perfectly into this question. How many of the NRL immortals played for the Roosters, and can you name them?
Ron Coote,
Yep.
Dally M,
Yep.
or Dally Messenger, um, Arthur Beetson.
Yep.
Wally Lewis did play for the Roosters very briefly.
Did he?
Yes, he did in the Amco Cup.
But
Uh,
okay, would that be classified as first grade or not?
oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, you know
Anyway,
what? We'll
that's
go
a
with that
little
one then.
add that as a bonus.
Yep.
Now, Graham Langlands, he was a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any more than three?
There's 2 more.
Oh, yeah. The one they added
I know
recently.
exactly who you're thinking. I think.
Um, Brown. No, it's not Dave
Yes,
Brown.
yes,
It
it
is Dave
is.
Brown. But
It is
there's
Dave
another
Brown.
one who's an real old school boy,
I don't know if they're
and
a
he's
recent one, but I could only find
Burge.
one other one. Yeah,
Something
Frank
Frank
Burge.
Burge.
Frank Burge as well, but there's also one other, and it's Bob Fulton.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so there's more than I thought as well. So, geez, Yeah, geez, you remembered more than I did. So, you're definitely better than me with this one. Um, Next question, obviously, is who holds the record for the most first grade games for the Sydney Roosters currently?
It's
Not
Mitch
current playing, but
Orbison.
it's current. It is.
Yeah, Mitch Orbison currently, but hopefully by the end of the year it will be JWH
Exactly. He's
if
only
he
five
doesn't get
games away.
suspended 1,000 more times.
Yep. And final question for the trivia. Who holds the record for the most points in a season for the Roosters?
Hmm. Andrew Walker?
No. I'll give you
Ooh.
I'll give you two
Oh,
more. Two more.
Craig Fitzgibbon?
Nope.
Oh man. Can
Would
you
you
give me a
like a hint?
clue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a current NRL coach.
Hmm. Oh, Ricky Stewart.
No, it's Ivan Cleary.
No. Ah, wow. There you go.
He
So it must have
scored
been around that.
284 points in the 1998 season for the Roosters.
Wow, there you go. I would
If
not have
the
even
hint that
come
I could
close
have
to
given
that.
was that was so obvious was the recent three-peat coach.
Even then I would have been like, huh? But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, there
fair,
you
fair
go.
enough. Very, very good. Next question to do with Roosters players and whatnot. Just before about 2 hours ago, before we started recording, I sent you a message saying, "Yep, give us your starting 17 of your, favorite Roosters players of all time in your lifetime. Give me your from 1 to 17." And I know there's a number 18 honorable mention, so go through with those.
I have made one change. So
Okay.
my fullback is Minicello. Love
Mm-hmm.
Teddy, love what he's about. Um, I just wonder, yeah, if they both existed at the same time, who would we be talking about? Pardon me.
I think
And I think
Mini without back problems outdoes Tedesco any day.
Like they're slightly different players, and Mini's
Mm,
more of an old school fullback. But the thing you could get about he's just so safe at the
yeah,
back. But he was also very successful for a very long time. So
on the
I
wing
think
as
he was
well.
in that. Well, you played on the wing in that 2002 grand final, but he was also there earlier on, and all the way through to 2013, and
Yeah,
to a prelim in 2014. So yeah, that was a pretty magic run for him. On the wing, I've got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Love
hmm,
Roger. Should never
yeah,
have left the Roosters. Anyone who's listened to any podcast that I'm on, I'm always banging on about Roger. I love Roger. Three, I just had to slip him in somewhere, and I've put in Mitchell Orbison, Mr.
okay,
Fix It.
yep,
And he played plenty of center for the Roosters.
he
And
did.
I had Ryan Cross there, but
Good
I've
shout.
put in Orbo.
Yeah,
Yeah, Orbo's just undeniable to me, so I have to put him in. As is Joey Manu at number 4.
yep,
And I almost went with Daniel Tupou at number 5, but I wanted to be a little more old school, so I put in Brett Mullins as my other
yeah.
winger.
Instead of putting him at fullback, put him at wing. Very nice.
Um, for the halves, I've gone Freddie for 6. Now, this one is a bit of a, I'd have to ask Freddie what he'd want here. So I've got Andrew Walker or Cooper Cronk as number 7,
Okay.
because I recall both Freddie and Joey saying they've never played alongside a more skillful player ever than Andrew Walker.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just some of those Indigenous boys have just got that skill that you just can't coach. Like they've just
No,
got the
they
genetics.
just
It's
got it in
just
him.
freaky. And I love that Trey Fuller. He's just got that freaky energy. It's just so
Yep.
cool. So it's either between him and Kronk. I wonder if Kronk and Freddie would clash a little bit. So I'd have to leave it up to Freddie to
Maybe.
choose.
Yep. That's
Uh,
fair.
front row, I've gone JWH, and then hooker is Jake Friend.
Yep. Okay.
Adrian Morley is the other front rower. Boyd
Yep.
Cordner at number 11. Fitzgibbon at 12. And Sonny Bill as our lock.
Money
And
bill.
then on the
Okay. Very
bench,
interesting.
yeah, just undeniable. Just such a good player. I mean, I think I did have Ricketson, but when I remembered Sonny, I thought just, yeah, cannot deny it.
Yep.
Um, on the bench, Craig Wing is number 14. I've gone Lindsay Collins at number 15. And then my other front rower, I couldn't decide. I've got a mix between either Sam Moa, Siwa Taukeaho, or Frank Paul Nuasala. I'm probably going with
Okay.
Siwa out of
Yep.
those. My 17 is Luke Ricketson. Can do anything, can play all the way from center to probably front row if you need him to.
Yep.
And my 18th man, for in case there's a concussion from the dead, is Arthur Beetson.
And you know what? He would run it off the back fence from the dead. Absolutely.
Oh, he'll do whatever you tell him. Now, I know this is supposed to be NRL era, so that's why I didn't include him or the likes of, say, Ron Coote or, you know, um, Bob Fulton or Graham Langlands. I mean, not Graham Langlands, but other older Roosters players. But you just got to squeeze Artie in there somewhere. He's just too
Absolutely.
good.
You'd even do it in a Dolphins side as well, because he's a Dolphins legend as well. Redcliffe Dolphins, that is, not NRL
Yep.
Dolphins. So my 13, geez, my 17 is slightly different. Some similar. Obviously, Minicello at fullback. Just because you and I, very similar generation, grew up. As much as I hated the Roosters growing up, I couldn't keep my eyes off Minicello. You know, he was just that one of those players that even though they don't play for your team, you can't stop watching them, sort of thing. And he was one of them for me. My other two for those actually were Adrian Morley, who's also in the team. I'll get to him in a second, and Lance Hohire. They were the other two of the players that I weren't on my team, but I just couldn't stop watching. Just loved watching them play. And my number two winger, Brett Morris, goes without saying, absolute legend of the game. Will become a Hall of Famer within the next 5 to 10 years, and deservedly so. My number three, Sean Kenny Dow. I think criminally underrated for a while. Like in the sense of in between the grand final sort of period, he was like people were just not rating him, and I think he didn't deserve that flack. Number four, bit of a tough pick, but I went with Justin Hodges because he was just deadly when he was at the Roosters. He went from a premiership succeeding team with the Broncos into a premiership succeeding Roosters side as well, sort of thing. So can't budge that. Number five is a bloke I went to school with, Matt Ikavalu. Only because, and for the pure fact that he scored 5 tries in one game, and it hasn't happened for the Roosters since 1955. And that is a record that, you know, it probably won't happen for a while again either. So even though he's not won grand finals, he did play in the World Club Challenge, but, you know, and he's relatively a nobody to anyone else, but that record is incredible. So congrats, Matt. My halves, James Maloney and Cooper Cronk. I would have loved to have seen them together in like 2017, 28. I know 2017 wasn't the grand final, but like those sort of years when they were building up to another premiership would have been incredible to see.
I don't reckon it would have worked. I think
You
they
don't
would have
reckon?
clashed. Yeah, I think
Okay.
they're polar opposites. Like what Jimmy is just so wild and so like irritating, and Cooper is like the opposite. I think they would have
But
hated each
maybe
other's
maybe
guts.
that's what would create the magic.
Maybe you never know.
Maybe.
We have
And
to.
then we got the forwards, the two props. We've got Adrian Morley and Michael Crocker. In the hooker, Jake Friend. Same for you. Number 11, I've gone a bit left of center, but again, someone you could always rely on, Chris Flannery. Um, pardon me. In the number 12 position, Craig Fitzgibbon, and locking it up, Luke Ricketson. And people are thinking, what about Freddie? What about Freddie? He's chill. He's my number 14. Starting on the bench, number 14, Brad Fittler, because he could literally fit in anywhere in the spine if you needed him to. Number 15, Nate Miles, just because, you know, punch ons in state of origin as a Queenslander and also Roosters. Number 16, Mitch Orbison, because as you said, Mr. Fix It. And number 17, Victor the Inflictor Radley. And that's my starting 17 of Roosters of all time, of my generation that I've watched. But this is not about me. This is all about Retro Rugby League and Tom Louther. So my next question for you is, what is your all-time favorite Roosters, Eastern Suburbs, Sydney City jersey?
I'm pretty close to owning it. So I have a 1998 Sydney City away jersey.
Yep.
My favorite is probably the year before that. So the 96, 97 ones look very similar. But the sponsor on the belly was Samsung and the
Mm-hmm.
badge was slightly different. So you got to remember 95 where the ARL
Mm-hmm.
and Super League war is imminent.
Yep.
It's culled off because of a High Court challenge. But all the teams were ready to go ahead with it. And so all the Super League clubs weren't prepared because they just had their jerseys, you know, from 95 and were getting ready for these kind of synthetic Nike ones. That didn't go ahead. So they all had to just slap these big patches over the ARL badge. So the teams that were prepared had the big green badge with ARL in the middle, and it had Optus up top and Yes down the bottom.
Yep.
Teams that weren't prepared sewed two little strips above and below the ARL badge. So if you go and look at the Cowboys who started that season, you'll see they have two little strips above and below the ARL badge. And you can actually still buy some jerseys, retro ones, that have that were just printed really early before the season began, that manufacturers had to just quickly backpedal and do
Yep.
those little patches. Sorry, that was the descent into nerddom.
No,
All of
that's
that
okay. I
is to
love it.
say, um, yeah, that 96, 97. I love that Optus patch. Is my favorite NRL patch. And then the 98 one is probably my second. So I own my second favorite Roosters jersey. That Sydney City logo, the meth head chook, they call him.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, everyone hated that logo. It was so ugly and daggy, and we couldn't wait to get rid of it. Now that is the most treasured, or one of the most treasured and sought after logos in rugby league, retroness, vintageness, and
Yeah.
whatever else. Yeah, so it's so cool. So yeah, that's my go-to.
That's
Chook's
fair.
item anyway.
Oh, absolutely. And well, then speaking of, then what is your favorite non-Roosters rugby league jersey of all time?
Well, my favorite one that I own that's not a Roosters one is my 98 Gold Coast Chargers.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. But there's a guy, I didn't see him at Magic Round, but I just saw a photo of him at Magic Round. He has I think it's a BRL kind of
Yeah,
era.
it
It's a
is.
Gold Coast Vikings jersey. So the
Jeez.
Vikings
Okay.
only existed for a very short period of time. The Vikings were like the undergrade, and then when the Chargers were happening, they were kind of still the feeder team for them.
Yeah.
It's the same colors as the Chargers, um, but it's just a lot of like jagged V's coming down the jersey. Yeah, it's just so crazy, so wild and out there. The purple, the teal, and the white, and little bits of yellow and
Yep.
stuff. But it's so rugby league. So
It's
that's
so
that's pretty
90s
cool
as well.
jersey.
So 80s and 90s sort of vibe as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, And another one, I mean, without going all day, like that original 95 Warriors away jersey is
Yep.
one of the all-time greats. And that's what's so awesome that they brought it back this year. And that 1NZ, this was huge. 1NZ stepped aside as the chief sponsor logo from the chest and let the Warriors just write NZ Warriors across the chest in the old
This
DB bitter
DB
font.
bitter. Yep.
That was
Absolutely.
huge. People underrate how big that was, and it actually paid off for 1NZ because they got to run whole marketing campaigns around this jersey with them front and center. They still got their logo on the back,
Yep.
but yeah, huge move. And so yeah, love that jersey. Love the original 95, one of the greatest of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, just going through my notes over here, just double checking I'm getting all the questions and topics. Um, origin, da, da, da. Favorite memory of the Roosters. Who's your favorite? Rightio. Time for Roosters 2024 chinwag so far. So the season so far for the Roosters been a bit up and down, but definitely up of late. Um, in your opinion, how have they gone so far? And where is the pass mark now for the end of the season?
Okay, so how are they going so far? They're going in some ways better than I expected. In some ways, yeah, it's always a roller coaster with the Chooks. So when they start getting a bit of roll on, you start getting your hopes up. And then, of course, on Saturday night they lost. It's probably because of me. So I'm cursed. Every time I go and watch the Roosters play live, they lose. And
Oh,
of course, I showed up on Saturday night and they lost. That's including two games I watched them play live against the Titans, where they lost, and also South
against the
Sydney when they weren't too
Titans.
crash hot.
Against
Yep,
the
yeah, I am
Titans of all
cursed.
teams.
So I'll be going to watch them play the Titans again this year, and I want to try and reach out to like Clarkey and whatever and go to
Yep.
it with him because I'm a bad omen, so he'll surely enjoy me being there. But it could
Oh,
be this time. Maybe I'll break the curse this time. I say it to
yep.
myself every time. Um, so yes, look, it's a bit hot and cold. They start to get a bit of roll on. Early in the year, started to have some good wins, beat the Broncos in Vegas. Wow, things are looking good. Got pumped by the Bulldogs. You know, started to have a bit of roll on
What's
again.
going
Things are
on?
looking good. Yeah, and then you just fall over to the Sharks, which I mean, Sharks are doing very well,
Mm,
but that could have won that game. So, like, really for the Roosters, a pass mark this year is a grand final. Like that,
yep.
because this is their window. It is now
Mm,
or never for them. There'll be players retiring at the end of the year. There's uncertainty about filling some positions. No Joey Manu next year, no Joseph Suoli'i, JWH, and
no
maybe Angus
Kiri.
Crichton will. Yep, yep. Maybe Angus Crichton will pack up his toys and leave, and he kind of has every right to. I hope he sticks around, but
Mm,
um, this could be their window. They need to get it done right now. So that's classic
Do you think
Roosters
they
for you, though.
can
Like we
get it done?
really, yeah, they can get it done. They can do it. Um, they just got to put all the pieces together. And I think, yeah, on their day, they've shown they can beat any team. Of course, the mountain to climb is Penrith. Um, Penrith and Melbourne are the two teams that probably scare me the most. We've obviously shown over the last little bit we can beat Brisbane. And
Hmm.
that's nice. Although I think Brisbane are right up there. In fact, at the start of the year, I tipped a Brisbane Roosters grand final, and I'm probably
Ooh,
still
that'd be
sticking with
good.
that.
That yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
That's a good dark horse call.
Um, but yeah, man, Penrith just keep rolling on.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I like about the NRL grand final as opposed to these American sports that play it over seven. You know, you probably get the right victor out of that system.
Hmm.
But on the NRL system, you just got to turn up, and on your day, anything can happen. Ask the
That's
'97
exactly it.
Knights, ask the 2003 Panthers. Anything can. Ask the 2005 West Tigers. Anything can happen, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I've got two final questions for you. First of all, of the modern era NRL grand final wins for the Roosters, it was more or less covered earlier in the chat. The 02, 2013, 2018, and 2019 Roosters grand finals. Probably missing one there, but probably not. I don't know. Which one is your favorite?
Well, here you go. I'll add something slightly different from before. So, from a pure fan point of view and nostalgia and all those kind of things, 2002 is that. But if you're looking for famous grand final wins from the Roosters, it's 2018. Yeah, like it just has storyline after storyline all there. Jake
Yeah.
Fran being out for so long and Boyd Cordner, is he going to play? All these concussion issues. Then, of course, Cooper Cronk being the main storyline. Mitch Orbison putting up his hand and say, I'll play halfback. Like that was going to be it. He wore the number 7 on the field. That was the plan. And so to do that and then come out and beat the team that won it the year before in the Melbourne Storm, and then
And it
also for
being
Cooper,
Kronk's former team. Yep.
that's right. And all this Billy Slater being in the grand final when he probably shouldn't have because of that shoulder charge, but they probably flexed the rules a little bit because, it's Billy and it's his last game and all this kind of stuff. So every storyline was coming together. And that's a
Hmm.
very famous win from the Chooks. So yeah, it
Oh,
depends how
absolutely.
you lean. If you're neutral, you'd probably really be impressed by 2018.
Oh, as a neutral, absolutely I was. I was at my mate's place having a few beers and a barbecue, and halftime scoreline, I was like, what? like, because as you're saying, the Storm 2017 coming off that grand final win and basically being dominant for relatively a decade, regardless of the cap or not, and it's just like, right, Storm, Storm, Storm. Roosters get a look in, but never, the winner except for 2013. And it's just like, right, Storm are going to get this. Surely, I mean, I tipped the Storm, if I'm being honest, because for all intents and purposes, it was the Storm's grand final to lose, and lose they bloody did. They really did. And well done to
But
the
I
Roosters.
think
It was incredible.
wasn't it the case though in the lead up to that grand final that the Roosters beat the Storm in an earlier final?
Mm, yeah.
Mm. So for me, that was the moment when it's like they're on, like
Okay.
this is them. And then when they shot out of a cannon in that grand final, just from the start, were just like running like crazy. I'm like, what is going on here? And the
Yeah.
fact, wasn't the stat that Cam Smith either ran no runs or one run for like 5 meters or something, which was
Yeah.
unheard of.
Yeah.
To shut down the great CS9 was amazing.
Incredible. And my final question for you, mate, is what's next for Retro Rugba League?
Ugh, I don't know. I well, we're still forging ahead in doing retro reviews when the kind of new retro reprints come out and analyzing them. And sometimes there's cool histories and stuff behind them. I dug a little bit into that '96 Tigers jersey that came out recently with the famous purple stripe, which is so
Mm-hmm.
weird, but so West Tigers.
Yep.
Um, and we'll also keep looking at the new jerseys that come out. There'll still be a few more to come out for the jersey nerds out there who are waiting on their team to possibly get one this year. There's still a few more in the works, I think. Um, but yeah, also we'll just keep cleaning up old jerseys and flipping those and selling those. And I've also got another set of these hats coming out. So I did one
Okay.
very, very small run of the cord caps, sold out in the first night. So that was cool.
Yeah,
There's a
wow.
second order coming, of another very limited run of those, and there will be one slight difference, but
Okay.
also maybe there's something special that might be revealed about the previous lot when those get dropped. So there's a little something to whet people's appetites.
Oh, absolutely. And before we end this episode, plug everything. Plug your Rugby Retro Rugby League. Where can people find you? How can they get in contact with you? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at retro underscore rugba, RUGBA underscore
Rugby
LEEG. Is that too many E's? Or
League.
not enough E's?
It's
Two
two E's.
G's. Yeah. It's two E's, one G.
Yep.
There's someone else who's Retro Rugby League.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm sure give them a follow too. I'm sure they're great people.
Yep.
But that's not me.
No.
And my logo is a pink circle with a yellow writing and a football. I'm sure you guys will figure it out. So yes, if you've got jerseys that you're keen on selling, let me know. If you want to flick through my profile and see what jerseys are there, go and grab something that's there. There's some cool stuff there at the moment. Some more ones coming too. And yeah, if there's stuff that you like the look of, but it's sold, just let me know, and maybe we can keep an eye out for stuff too. If anyone wants to do any collabs or whatever like that, reach out. I'm happy to have a go at anything. That's about it.